Hello everyone, Rashid here. Thanks for joining. So we're starting next another week, probably second week. Last week was short. I did a couple of videos only, but this week we will do a lot more videos, and we will gradually build from here. So don't worry if I'm touching some of the basics and you're already familiar with it. Just increase the what is it called playback speed. Increase the speed, playback speed. And go quickly in case you find something interesting. You can slow down. All right. Okay, so in this video we'll talk about instructions. Generally, what you're seeing here, some of that we will cover. So a lot of simpler concepts will come in the beginning. Okay, so yeah, so typically, and Shazil is with me again today. uh, so we typically somebody who uses processors, um, and typically when we create a software, right? When we create a software, what languages do you use, Shazil?
Like Python or
Yeah,
like
Python.
C++.
So yeah, these are called higher level languages, right? So Python, I gave an example, but you write something like that: A is equal to B plus. I don't know. This syntax don't um, you know get too much worried about that. I don't remember. Python, I did it, but sometimes I forget, mix up the syntax. So you what I mean here, you write something like that, right? Okay, A, B plus C. A, you define a variable, B, you define a variable, C is a variable, right? And all those, and then eventually you add it, and the output goes into the destination, right? But does computer understand? Computer where you're running that software, then does that understand this language?
No.
No. What language computer understand?
Zeros and ones.
Zeros and ones, which are binary, right? So computer only understands 0 and 1. So we have to convert this into 0 and 1 and put that in memory. Okay. All what computer does is, by the way, this is our computer, CPU. Our processor is going to be here. This is a central processor unit. Okay, so what it does, it reads the memory location one by one, one by one. Okay, and whenever it reads a location, so this is the 32-bit processor we are studying. Okay, and which processor are we studying?
32-bit.
And what's the RISC-V?
Yeah.
Okay, remember that. Okay, it's called RISC-V, and I want to talk about what the RISC means and all the history. We will talk about that maybe at the end. But first, I want to take you through what it is. Okay, so what you give it an address, 32-bit. Then I'm assuming you have 2 raised to power 32 locations that you can address and you can keep your data at. Okay, and then you can write with this one, then you can read with this one. All right. So eventually, first of all, let's assume you have a way to put some data into this memory. Later on we'll figure out how we do that, but let's assume somehow you put data into memory. You put some 010132 of bits, and CPU is reading it. Okay, so first of all you need to put 0 1s. So we need another software for that. We need some sort of conversion for that, right? So you have a Python code. This could be if else, this could be addition, subtraction, substitution, and if else, whatever, all those high level syntax we use in high level languages, right? So then we have a compiler. Compiler is going to convert that into an assembly language. This is a different language. Now this language is a little bit more closer to the hardware. Its syntax is you kind of move this address load word LW load word from this address of the memory, load data into a register, which is T0. We'll talk about register. Then load another word from address 4 into register T1. Then add T0, T1, and put the output into register this one, and then store this register value into into this value 8, for example, into this. I should have put the what is it, store words. Okay, I don't know if it's okay. Yeah, T2 into 8, something like that. So, but my point here is we will look into detail of assembly language later on, and I need to revise that. But the thing is, you are really sitting at a little bit more closer instructions. So one A, B, C can convert into a lot of assembly instructions. Okay, so this is where these are a little harder, right? Imagine that if those higher level codes you have to write, and you have to write in assembly language, this will not gonna be easy one. Okay, but so this is an intermediate state. We generally don't use it. I think some people who use microcontrollers, or I remember there was an 8051 Intel CPU for which is used in hardware, and sometimes when you want to write a code for those CPUs were used in a hardware system, okay, a smaller system, and you can write, because you want to write very optimized code. Hey, this data comes here, put it into register, then do this. We used to have this in university, college I'm talking about. We used to have write in assembly language. I think some other hard people might do this, but you can only write a very small piece of code with this one. Okay, so generally you don't do it itself, but we will later on practice. We will use a simulator. We will write in this one smaller program just to understand the functionality, how CPU moves data around and processes data and all that. Okay, then later on, this is assembler. This takes an assembly language code and it will converts into a binary 01. It will convert into 32-bit different instructions, and those different instructions, when written in memory in different location, and that CPU job is pick them one by one. Pick them. It is going to fetch them, what we call fetch this location. For example, it has fetch this one. I'm assuming this is written there. I know some arbitrary numbers here. It's going to fetch that. First, it's going to decode that. Okay, is it add? Is it load? Is it what? So every instruction is going to determine it. And once it's determined, okay, what it needs to determine the operands. Operands are, this, what you add, for example, this to these three are operands. Ones are called source operands or destination operands. So source are one that where operation will be done between them, on them, and the final, the eventually thing goes into this one. This is your destination operand. Okay, so when it takes 32-bit, it's all 010101, right? It doesn't know what I need to do. So then it's called a decode. We need to create a hardware to decode that. And once it's decode that, then it's an add one. Then I need to execute it. I need to make sure it passes through here. So for example, this comes, right? You typically have a program counter. It has a register, and we will talk about registers. It has a register. It has a stored value of address, 32-bit. So it's connected directly to the address. Okay, and this is typically, let's assume we are adding by 1. Again, we're not talking specifics of maybe RISC-V. We will get graduate that, but just want to give you, let's say every time I 0 to 1 and 2 and 3, this is address will be every time added. And we will look into each of these parts in very detail, so don't worry about that. So program counter is a register. On the input side, it has a counter, add by 1. Every time its previous value is kind of fed back, added, and that's new value comes in. Okay, and we will use this as an example for you to understand what registers are. So then this value points to this one. Then let's say this data comes here. This data comes to one register or to another register. So there are registers in our computer CPU. And the register is with these symbols. These are 32-bit. Everything 32-bit. So that means there will be 32 of these ones. So then output of these is connected to an adder. Okay, there can be multiplexer. Maybe you want to select from a register. Maybe you want to select from directly from the memory, or maybe you have some other operation that you did and calculated in a version of the what you got it, and then you output. So multiplexer, again, we are going to study. Shall you study that one, right? Multiplexer, and the output of that is going to come to adder. It's going to add these two, and then there's a register that the output goes to, and that output of that register goes into the memory, which we provide address, and we can even write that. I do not expect you to understand everything at this stage, but just want to give you very simple architecture I gave you for an adder. Okay. So, and if you look inside here, there is, you have seen that some hardware pieces are fixed. Like this, if this data comes here to the registers, and we will study registers in this week too. When enable comes, it stores it. So register is an element to store something, and it stores something. Whenever storage comes in, mean a memory, remembering something. And remembering is whenever remembering something in these type of design, synchronous design, there is always clock involved, because we remember things with respect to clock. Why? Because clock is kind of, what is the mean? A clock is used for timing, right? So basically we time it. I mean, if everything comes on the input, output calculator goes back, we are not able to give a sequence to data flow. So data is flowing. But in order to get useful work from the data or data flow, we have to sequence it. We have to bring inputs at the right time. We have to save the outputs at the right time. So we first take the input, wait for it, the operation is done, write it on the outputs, then write it into memory. Like it's a sequence of operation which makes it do solve a particular problem. Okay, you're not sleeping. So I know what happens when I teach you that you start sleeping.
His voice, it's amazing.
His voice is amazing. I should start doing ASMR.
Yeah, you should do that on the side.
All right, folks, I'm going to create another channel for ASMR. Some, or maybe if you guys want to sleep, you can watch these, listen to these videos. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so what the point I want to convey here, don't want to make it to higher level, but there is a data path, and you control the storage element by these highlighted things. Enable it. Enable means it's not going to store it only when enable is there, it's going to store it. So you enable it, and when the output you want to save, you enable it. Which input you want to go to the adder, you select it, right? You also have enable. You really want to increment your program counter? Yes, then you want to increment, right? So these, and you want, when do you want to write it? So controlling when these signals come, this is through, we control kind of a proper state machine or with a proper sequence. So that is called a control part. So when you're learning a processor design, you need to create a data path with just connecting different pieces together. But the flow of data you control with clock, but with also enable signals. So together, this is called combination circuits, and this is called sequential circuits, are part of that. Generally, we drive it through. I mean, there is some combination here in the control, but that control, the core thing behind is a sequential storage element. Okay, and we will study this combinational logic and sequential logic. That's why in all your logic design classes, the first they always start at a gate, then they start building combinational, sequential, and sometimes you guys are lost in the theory of that, right? But those things are super important. because they're building for you the base, and so that when you come to this stage, they don't need to explain you what multiplexer is, what register is, and all that. But I'm taking a different approach. I will start explaining those ones. Okay, so I think we finish it here because Shazil is sleeping. But this was the homework. Again, today, keep in mind, all we are dealing with is a binary system. Okay, and when you're in binary system, you need, and we will be doing these conversion. For example, we will say, okay, this is the 32-bit instructions. We won't be able to write all 32 ones, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, right? We will be writing in decimal or hexadecimal. Hexadecimal takes 4 inputs and have 1 character. It kind of reduces the over number of entries we have. So even though everything is binary, but we will write them in decimal or hexadecimal. So it's very important right now that if I give you a decimal number and ask you to convert it into 32-bit binary, 5-bit binary, I mean, here everything is 32-bit. But initially, I mean, you can practice with 5-bit, 4-bit, 3 bits, right? Or if I ask you, here is a 32-bit number, you gave me an equivalent decimal or hexadecimal, right? You should be able to understand how to move between them. Okay, so don't go into addition and all that, but rest of it. So I will give you guys and Shazil here a quiz, most likely on Fridays. Fridays or weekends, I will give you guys quizzes on it, and I will see how much you know. But what the next thing I think we need to study is we will start talking about in RISC-V architecture. Again, remember this one. This is where student gets confused. We are studying. We will not make a generic thing where we can put as many registers as want, or and why we put register, why memory. Those things we will study. This RISC-V architecture tells us we need to keep certain number of registers. It says there need to be 32 registers, not less, not more. What is the division? What different registers are used for? It also gives you a specs for that. So all those specs are written in RISC-V document. Later on, when somebody writes a Python code or C level code, this assembler knows that, okay, it's a RISC-V, so it's gonna create instruction. It's gonna know there are 32-bit registers. I can use 32-bit, 32 registers. Each register has a 32-bit data. So when you go from here, it's it's RISC-V, so gonna pick only RISC-V architecture. So it's very important that we create a hardware that follows those specification. Otherwise, this assembler is not gonna work, right? Okay, so we will start talking about how many register, what is the register. First of all, we start what is a register, why it's used for, what is this made of. And then we will look into other. And similarly, when we come to multiplexer adders, we will also look into those. All right. So I think what I can try to go over these two. No, this one. These 3 videos. Okay. So take your time. This is a playlist I have. Sequential logic design, and what is SR latch, register, and what is latch versus flip-flop. These 3 videos, watch them, and as you also on your time, on your own time, go through them. And then I will take your questions, and I will come here and in a video. Okay, so maybe let's do that. I'm thinking, instead of I tell you how many registers, first let's get an idea. Again, if you don't understand everything, that's okay. You need to remember this is a storage element. Again, how can we store it? So go through it. Maybe what I can do is I can give a summary of summary that should be enough for you to grasp the core concept. All right. So let's finish it here. You guys make sure you're following all the homeworks and everything, because I am doing this training right now in very sequential way. All right. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.